I need to make some cording to trim out the rest of the chair. In some cases, the leather just isn't ample enough length that you can get. I need to go around completely around this arms and back. Options are machine sewing seams in here, a straight seam, or cutting on a bias. A lot of people do, but they're very noticeable. In this case, I'm going to make an invisible seam, gluing the strips together and reinforcing them with fabric. I've done it, made my calculations to where when I fit the cording, the seam's going to be down here on the back side of the arm. A machine sewn seam would have been perfectly acceptable, but in this case, it's invisible. Start by squaring these ends up. Nice sharp razor blade is always best. That one looks pretty close, but I'd like to keep a nice clean edge too. That's probably a scissor cut. Put this tape on here and I'll just get a little bit of a bite there. I'm going to slide these together and butt them as close and firmly as I can. Bring that tape back down on it. Take a regulator and I can press that tape down to where it really bonds the leather together. I'm going to flip that over and we'll put it on this dowel, and that'll let that seam open up just a little bit. Just kind of carefully push that down inside the cut. I don't want to get too much glue down in there because sometimes there is a glue line, but the glue line is far less noticeable than the sewn line, so the trade-off is worth it. I've got a piece of lightweight cotton cambric. Cut it a little long so that I can keep my fingers out of the glue. Don't need to get real heavy with the glue. Sometimes it'll harden and make the leather stiff, but it doesn't really translate into the outside cover. Okay, we'll leave these dry and pick up on them after a while. I'm going to peel this tape back. I'm going to make sure that I run in line with the cut so I'm not pulling it apart. Pull this back. Need to use a little bit of Goo Gone on here. I'll wipe this seam down. Alright, that's ready to take over to the sewing machine and sew together. To make my work on antiques authentic, I like to use a jute cord. It doesn't really make a lot of difference. Kind of twist the cord up and tighten it as I go. As I approach the seam here, I'm going to avoid pulling too hard on the leather. It's pretty well bonded, but I don't want to stretch it. Actually, I'll do kind of the opposite. And as I feed the seam in, I'm going to push the leather together just to make sure that nothing pulls loose. I'm going to walk through. Sometimes the needle will get bound up with the glue. It gets hot, so we'll go real easy through here. This seam went together exceptionally well, and as you can clearly see, it's a much better way to finish out the trim.